Yo, what's up again, everybody? This is the Cisco tutor guy, Terrence Horn, um, former CCNP. And I was thinking, should I change my name from Cisco tutor guy to just the network tutor guy? Because for a while, I wasn't even working with Cisco devices. It came full circle though. But network tutor guy seems more broader than just Cisco. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Continuing on with my CCNA lab series. I want to get into the next lab for the CCNA, which is the OSPF lab. Now, before we get into the walkthrough, the demonstration, I want to explain what OSPF is, what it means, what it does, how it works. So, what OSPF is a routing protocol that exchanges information with other routers about routes and the way it determines the path for these routes. OSPF stands for Open Shortest Path First Protocol. And a protocol is simply, think of an app for a mobile phone. Protocols work for networks just like apps work for mobile phones. Okay? So anyway, um, what OSPF does is, let's say, here's an analogy. If there's five of us downtown, we're all trying to get downtown. And then one of our friends is already downtown. So what OSPF would do is it would, let's say, he would take his phone, being the router, and it would send the GPS directions to the rest of our phones on how to get to his location. And depending on where each one of us was, it would be a different route. Some may be faster, some may be longer. But it'll exchange the routes with each of our phones on how to get to that location. Now, instead of phones, in actuality, we're going to be using routers. All right, the phones is just an analogy, and it uses the metric to determine path. When I say metric, think of, let's say, if we have route A, which is 60 miles an hour, and route B is 45 miles an hour. We want to get to downtown the shortest route, right? So OSPF would choose the lowest metric, or the least bandwidth, which would be the lower speed limit. So it would choose the path with the 45 mile an hour route instead of the 60 mile an hour route, right? But again, this is an analogy. So in real life production terms, it would be the router would choose the route with the least bandwidth, the lower metric. So I'm hoping that you're getting what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but that's how OSPF works as when it's determining a route. Now EIGRP is another route uh, routing protocol that determines routes, but it uses links or link. It's a link state protocol, so it determines the route a different way. But that's going to be another video. But anyway, that's how OSPF works. All right. So now that I've explained what OSPF works, and if you still don't get it, I'm going to do another video being in more detail. Just put it down in the comments. Let me know. But now that I've explained how OSPF works, let's get into this lab for the CCNA, the OSPF configuration lab. All right. So here we have a simple network with three routers: router 1, router 2, and router 3. And we're going to configure OSPF on this network with these three routers. And as you can see, there's three different IP addresses. So what we do first is we got to give the OSPF an AS number. And what that means is, let's see, how can I explain this? All right. Each router has to have an AS number, so that binds them into the same group, right? And so the AS number will be something like router, we're going to keep it simple for training purposes, router OSPF1. So when we put router OSPF1, all these routers will be a member of the same AS group. And I can't really remember what AS stood for. It'll come to me in a minute. But so let's jump into this first router, router 1. All right, config. We in the command line. Enter. And we're going to give it a router AS number. Enable. Config T. All right, and so we already said the router AS number is going to be 1, so we're going to start out with router OSPF 1. The second thing we got to do once we give it an AS number, we need to give it a router ID to determine which router is which in this AS group. So we're going to call this one, let's see, router 10.10.12.1. All right. So it's 10.10.12.1. You know what? I forgot something. I forgot to say router ID. ID 10.10.12.1. And there we have, so it's named that. So that we got router 1, a router ID, and the router number. Let's go to router 2. Move it over here. Command line. Enable. Config T. Router OSPF 1. Router ID 10.10.12.2. All right, so we've got the router OSPF1 established, and we've given them both router IDs. So while we're into, we're going to go ahead and interface, and just let's see which interface are we going to use. Excuse me. Let's say we're going to use the gigabit port 00 since it's already up. Y'all see that? So we're going to go ahead and use gigabit 0 since it's already up. Interface, and I'm using shortcuts. G0/0. So now that we're in, we're going to give it a priority. Router port, OSPF priority of like 255. Now, I don't remember where I know that from, but these are the instructions, believe me. I've done this probably 100 times. All right, so IP OSPF priority you gotta be careful with your spelling. Be careful not to fat finger it too far. All right, so now we got the router priority, and we gotta do the same for the second interface. So let's go. Since we're using 00, the only logical interface that we can use after this is 2. Oh no, since we're using 00, let's go at 01. So this interface gig 1, 0/1. All right. And we're going to give it an IP OSPF priority 255. All right. Now we have to go back to router 1 and do some things. So let's go back. Let's go leave that here and go back into router 1. And we've already established our router OSPF 1, but now we got to get back into it. So we're going to start with router OSPF 1. And we're going to add the IP addresses of the other two routers. We're going to add them to this network statically. So that would be network 192.168. And let's pause for a minute so I can go back and see what the IP address was. Okay. IP address is 1.1 for this router. So let's go ahead and add that. 1.1. And we're going to give it a mask of 0. You know what? I wonder if I 0.0.0.0 area 0. And you only have to use the areas when you're doing OSPF. Enter. All right, and now let's go to router 2. So back to router 2. Router OSPF 1. This is how it's like we're telling it that we're trying to access the OSPF 1 that we just created. So network 192.168.2.2 with a subnet mask of 0.0.0.0.0 area 0. Hit enter. Now there's one more router that we have to put this on because we haven't put anything on router 3 yet. Let's move it over here. Command line. Enable. Config T. Router. OSPF 1. Did we even give it a network ID? Well, maybe since we already have a network ID established, we don't have to do it again. So let's see, network 192.168.3.3 0.0.0.0 area 0. Enter. So now that we have that, now we got to go back and save our work in all 3 routers. Now, in any lab in the CCNA, you're gonna have to put copy run start. But for training purposes, and because I've been, like I said in every other video, I've been doing this for a while, so I'm just gonna do a write mem, which is WR, and our configuration is saved. So let's go back to the other ones. and do the same thing. Back to do, right mem, save. Do, right mem. Now you gotta remember to do that in the actual exam. So now let's do a show run and look at our work. So we're gonna hit end, takes us back to exec mode. We're gonna do show run and look at our work. See, as you can see, there's the interfaces. They're all done. You see the networks that have been added to router OSPF1. You see the first, second, and third routers in here. You see. And another way that we can verify that OSPF is configured on all three routers is we do, there's a command that we can input that will show us OSPF on all the routers. I just got to remember what it. Okay, I think it's either show OSPF or show OSPF routes or show OSPF summary. We're gonna try them all. Okay. So again, we're in route one. Show OSPF. Nope, that wasn't it. Oh, I think I show OSPF summary. That wasn't it. Show OSPF F. Maybe I need an S. Maybe I need to be in a different mode. Okay, I think I know what I'm doing. Wrong. Show IP. Let's not type. Show IP OSPF route. Nope, that wasn't it. Show IP OSPF routes. Okay, I think I got it. So let's go back into router one. And the command is show IP OSPF. And here it shows us a detailed summary of IP OSPF on that interface. It shows you the algorithms. It shows you the LSAs, the hello timer, dead timers. If you're not familiar with that, that's going to be another video. And I'll explain all those things. And if we do a show IP route, it should show us if OSPF is configured on a router and which routes are which interfaces. So where you see an O is an OSPF interface network that's on the router. See, and you see three places where O is at, and it should be showing router 3's address right here, router 2's address, and its own address. Router 1 right up here because it's directly connected, and they're all actually directly connected, and it should say that, and it does say that. So that was router 1. So let's go into router 2. Exit takes us back to the last mode. Show IP route. And as you see, there's OSP routes is 1, 2, and 3. So we have 3 routes on router 2. So let's check router 3. And show IP routes. Once again, we see our 3 OSPF routes, 1, 2, and 3. Now there is another command. I think it's show OSPF summary, or show IP OSPF route. I can't remember if it's route or routes. Maybe it's routes. Oh, show IP OSPF summary. Oh well, you get the gist of it. So we have OSPF configured on all 3 routers. We see the OSPF routes on all 3 routers also. So if you liked the video, if you understood what I was trying to convey, hit that like button and subscribe. And thank you for watching the video. I appreciate your support and your encouragement. Just to continue to keep rocking with me, and I'm going to continue to bring more videos trying to teach this subject that I love called IT. All right. And get back with me on the whole name change. If I should just change it to the network tutor guide or keep it the Cisco tutor guide. You tell me. So in the meantime, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next week when I drop another video. I don't know what day or time, but it'll be next week. All right. Thanks for watching.